As a kid, I was always fascinated by the unknown, specifically unknown creatures. The creature that intrigued me the most was Bigfoot. To me, a giant ape stalking my backyard was one of the most terrifying feelings, especially because it felt so real to me. Who knows? Maybe there was a giant ape standing somewhere behind the trees in my backyard, maybe even your backyard. My backyard happens to be the great state of Texas. I love Texas. I hate liberals too. It's a place I've called home my whole life and has such a large amount of wildlife. Vast range, vast diversity. You got deserts, rivers, lakes, forests, everything you could imagine. I think the large amount of forests is what really sells me on the idea of Bigfoot. And also, why wouldn't you want to live in Texas? You doesn't have to pay income tax. The reason I decided to make this video is to investigate the Bigfoot sightings and legends in the Lone Star State of Texas. The date is June 9th, 2004. On a hot Texas summer, you're driving, passing the same rice field you've passed by almost every single day, when from the corner of your eye, you notice something strange. You see a man walking through the currently flooded rice field, which is strange, because after 9/11, people 2,000 miles away stopped walking outside, apparently. So you hop out your car, grab your shitty 2004 camera, and snap some quick pics of the giant ape you see walking through the rice fields. Then you get in your car and honk your horn and frighten the ape into running away. Now, this story is interesting because they provide photos of the quote-unquote Bigfoot, and they even got footprints, which don't really look like footprints. Anyways, here are the photos. For the first photo, we have a picture of the rice field without the Bigfoots loitering around. The second picture is the rice field with the giant red dot pointing to point out exactly where Bigfoot is. You can't see him in the photo, so the red circle doesn't help at all. I mean, it makes a great YouTube clickbait thumbnail. Now we have some footprint photos, which, I mean, they don't really look like footprints. They're just dips in the mud. They're not even like foot shaped like the traditional Bigfoot foot. Maybe he was wearing shoes or something, but I mean, it just looks like maybe someone was walking with boots. And then we have a picture, so they compare the Bigfoot picture to a recreated picture of a human, and it's hard to tell which is which, but can't blame them much. It's 2004, they don't have 4K cameras or phones chilling around that can zoom in that good. They had their shitty cameras they buy at Walmart. So, I don't really blame whoever took these pictures for them being bad quality. But I mean, this story, there's no reason to think it's not just a couple guys walking. Something I forgot to mention during the story is there was apparently 2 Bigfoots, which yeah, that doesn't really change much other than that there was 2. The Big Thicket National Preserve is a protected area in Texas. The dense shrubbery, vast amount of trees, and the biodiversity of the area would make this a perfect area for a Bigfoot to be hidden, especially when you consider the fact it is the most dense forest region in the state of Texas. As I previously said, this is a perfect place to house a Bigfoot, and the Big Thicket has its own Bigfoot legend, known as the Wild Man of the Big Thicket. The Wild Man became known for the vast amount of sightings in the Big Thicket and nearby areas. The most notable encounter occurred in 1962, when 2 boys were visiting their grandma for the weekend and decided to go out hog hunting. While wandering towards the creek, they spotted what they believed to be a wild boar drinking from the creek. They attempted to get closer for a better shot, when all of a sudden, the creature they believed to be a wild boar stood up on its hind legs, staring straight into their souls. The boys claimed it felt like the creature hypnotized them just by the stare alone, with one of the boys saying, "While we were whispering and trying to make a final decision, this so-called wild boar stood up on its hind legs, turned and looked straight at us. Naturally, we froze and stared back at it. It turned into a staring contest because our legs wouldn't work. It seemed like it had hypnotized us or something. The creature then just turned around and walked away." They also described the creature claiming, "I don't know if I can describe this thing as an animal. It almost appeared as much human as it did animal. The thing that we saw was well in excess of 7 feet and at least half as wide at the shoulders as it was tall. The hair was brown and black, and probably 4 inches long and covered the entire body. The arms hung almost to the knees, and the stride was extremely long. Even though the stride was long, it walked so graceful that it seemed to almost glide along. It was a stride that no man could duplicate." Unlike the previous case, there is no evidence, but when you read the story the witness told and his descriptions, it feels far more believable. The description of the wild man staring at them is quite haunting. It's a stare that could paralyze you. A stare from a creature you don't know or understand, and you don't know its intentions. The way he doesn't want to describe it as an animal because of how human it seemed is also very scary. And I don't necessarily believe this sighting actually happened, but it is a pretty creepy story to hear. And to give it a little credibility, the NAWAC investigator Charles DeVore found both witnesses' statements to line up, and both of them recalled it quite well and pretty similarly. Their stories lined up. So, is Bigfoot really out there in the great Lone Star State of Texas? Well, he's probably not, considering the fact that he's not real, is what I would say if I was a stupid liberal. But I believe somewhere out there in the forests, out there in the woods of the great state of Texas, hides an ape. The ape known as Bigfoot.